How's it going, everybody? Gringo here, and today I'm going to be going over my thoughts on kind of build for Mysterio. I haven't perfected him yet, I would say, but from what I've seen, his survivability is really good, but his damage is really low. And we'll just take a quick look at him, and then I'll kind of talk about him a little. So, first off, we have all attack, energy attack, of course, all defense. I built him towards dodge because I didn't really see just a little bit of HP making that much of a difference. Because if he gets caught out of one of his iframes by like a meta character or something, he's going to get one-shotted. So having a chance to dodge one of those one-shots and get back into that iframe, like that second or two between the iframes, is crucial. And for the last, I put ignore defense to try to boost up that attack. For his ISO set, I went with Spy Tactics. One, because I don't need skill cooldown, so Hawk's Eye and those were out of the picture. And two, again, was to boost his attack. So I like the all attack, crit rate, crit damage, and ignore defense going towards that attack. That little bit of attack speed also might come in handy since his fourth skill is kind of slow. It's about 5 seconds before you actually get any hits or damage in, so that's one thing about him. For his obelisk, I went with a mind damage. The crit damage and the activation rate skill were just on there. I didn't really have any other mind damage obelisks at the moment. And since all his skills do mind damage percentage plus bonus mind damage, I figured that would be a good one for him. Essentially, it would be like a double mind damage or mind damage ignore defense, probably with a damage proc to get his damage even more up there. Going over to his skills, I did max out all of his skills, but that was because when I first started using him, I did get him to level 60, but he wasn't doing any damage. So I figured, hey, maybe like it's because I haven't really worked on him. So I went through, I leveled up all his skills, I gave him the ISO set, and he still wasn't really doing good damage. I did the Storm X-Men level, the tracking mission for the level 61 Storm, and he was doing about 4 minutes 10, 4 minutes 15 seconds, somewhere around there. So when I gave him that obelisk with the mind damage, I figured, hey, this will probably be a really good boost for him. But even with that boost from the obelisk, he was still only able to get around 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So it only cut off like around like 20, 25 seconds, which isn't really fantastic. Essentially, I would like to have it maybe around like 2 minutes. But if you look at his skills, if you notice like that 15% right there, energy attack, 35%, 55% for the clones, 50% energy attack, 35 or 33%. Those numbers are actually pretty low for a character. Like if you go, say, to Nebula right here, 91%, and it's only skill level 3. 131%. That 29% is kind of low, but I mean, these can still be leveled up. 115%. If you go over one more, I mean, 38% at level 3, 24%, but it's got the extra 419 for the second skill, so that's not bad. 167%. And then that's not all, because, I mean, even with these clones, 164%. And it's around for 15 seconds at level 3. This one's around for 10 seconds, 104% at level 3. And if you go back to Mysterio's, it's 55% for 8 seconds. So a lot of the characters in this game that I'm seeing, with like the exception of Ultron and Red Skull, who have been in the game for a long time and haven't had any reworks or anything, do have better clones than Mysterio. Like they're either stronger, there's more of them, or there's they do more damage, or like all of the above. Like I literally went through like Ebony Maws, Super Giant. I went through Hellstrom, um, Sister Grimm, like just to name a few, and they were all better than his. A couple of them, like they do only summon like 2 or 3 clones, but they're way stronger than his, and they have more of an impact on the actual damage and stuff they do. Because these clones, they don't even really do that much damage. If you take them into a world boss, they die off super quick, so they don't even have time to get any hits in, and yeah, so they're not fantastic. Um, for his other skills, though, his 4th and 5th skills down here, they do give him good iframes. His first skill gives him like a minor one, so if you're having like issues with your skill cooldown not really being up there, um, and you can't really do the 4th skill to the 5th skill like back and forth, and you have a couple extra seconds in there, you can level up that first skill right there, and that'll give you like a second or two to kind of try to recover. But his skill that does the most damage that I've noticed is his 4th skill with the minion. And the minion is when you summon those little like jack-in-the-box like things with the boxing glove that comes out and hits the ground like 5 or 6 times. Those are actually considered a clone. It doesn't say it right here, but if you're in game, I've noticed that sometimes it'll have 2 different icons up by Mysterio's picture for his illusions. This one will be right here. It'll have the 55% for 8 seconds, but this one down here with the boxing gloves, it's also 8 seconds, but it's 100% of his stats. So that's kind of what I would have expected for the regular clones for him. But yeah, the boxing gloves are definitely going to be the best damaging one, in my opinion, out of the 3 options in this. But then again, they don't move around the map, so you have to kind of keep the enemy within range, or they're not even going to hit it, and they're just going to sit there. His 5th skill, I wouldn't rely on too much, because it honestly doesn't really do that much damage. It takes like 3 or 4 seconds to work up until it actually does the hit, and then the hit's just really not that impressive. So it's just kind of time consuming for the skill. If you're on a crunch for time like Shadowland or World Boss, it's not gonna help out at all unless you like need an iframe because you're about to get hit or something. Then that would be the time I would use that one. Okay. So let's take him into a world boss here to show you kind of what I mean. Let's go. I think the best one I had for him was with Spider-Man and Black Cat. And I'm going to use Spider-Man for leadership because Mysterio, I believe I already have max skill cooldown. Max skill cooldown on him. So his leadership isn't going to help himself at all. I believe I already tried him, noticing that those mind damages are up top. So I am going to try with just the 10% to supervillains. And we'll see if this is any faster. So I'm not expecting much for this. Maybe he gets to like the 3rd phase because his skills are kind of slow and stuff. But it's probably going to get to the point where I'm just trying to get in some hits, so I'm trying to maybe cancel out some skills to get more hits in to do more damage because I'm probably going to be running low on time. But then again, in this game, I can see, because if they did honestly give him pretty good damage, then with his iframes on his skills and his survivability, he would be definitely like a really good meta character. So we'll bring out those clones real quick just to see what they can do. One of them's pretty much already dead. Phone's running kind of slow tonight. Yeah, that hit right there, that last hit on that, I feel that should be like a really big hit for some decent damage. Like it just like feels like all that work up and like the little hits that you're getting in there, right there, like that little damage, it feels like that does more than that hit that should be like major damage. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that people do have Mysterio strong enough to be able to clear world bosses kind of without a problem. But they've also probably got like really well leveled up Urus. They've probably got really good obelisks and stuff, really good ISOs and everything. And it feels like these days, most characters, like, they don't really need like awakened ISOs or Urus or anything to be able to beat at least most of the world bosses. So it feels like Mysterio's a little bit behind the curve on that. Uh-oh. In trouble. And there goes that fifth skill to that iframe when I got in trouble. Oh, yeah, that would have sucked if those flames would have hit. Ah. Oh. Good timing. Yeah, my, well, there he goes. My fifth skill got canceled out in the middle of me using it, so he was standing there when I went to use my next skill. Corvus already had those flames up, so, yeah, we'll just leave that at that. But, there is one more thing I would like to talk about before I finish this video, and that is that Mysterio did do better for me in PvP. Other than like the meta characters like Doctor Strange and like Odin, Dormammu and stuff, like those teams, he did pretty well with his survivability. And the only reason it's like Doctor Strange, Odin, and them like really beat him was because of like, of course, time freeze. But he doesn't have a whole lot of HP, which is why I threw the dodge. So he'd dodge a couple shots, but then he'd get like one shotted because people have their meta characters so strong in that, and it seems like enemies get priority in everything. So even if I'd go into a little bit of an iframe, if I didn't really get too far into it, it would just get canceled out and I'd get one-shotted. But where he did shine for me was actually in Alliance Conquest, where I had him in a team with Sandman and Vulture, because I do not have Kraven maxed out yet. And they were up against 3 tier 2s. So they did a little bit of damage, and then Vulture and Sandman got killed off. But Mysterio was able to actually hold off 3 tier 2s for the full time limit. So it felt like kind of like a Squirrel Girl type character, where it's good for stalling, but the character's not going to be able to finish off all the enemies. So they're not going to die, but they're not going to win. Because facing 3 tier 2s, if you can't do the damage, then you're just going to time out and lose. So he was able to survive, but it didn't matter anyway because I already lost. But knowing that, if you throw him as like a backup character into something with like a really good character just to do like some extra damage, then that would be a way to get him in there. As far as Shadowland goes, I would say that you could probably bring him, if you have low skill cooldown, as like a decent leadership there. And then if you plan on playing as another character in that level, you could just have Mysterio as a backup, just kind of getting a few hits in here and there. But then, like I was been saying, like he doesn't do extreme amounts of damage, so don't expect anything like super special unless you have like a damage proc or something. If you do manage to tier 2 him, which I'm going to try to do soon, I just don't have the biometrics or anything for him yet. I will be doing Shadowland to try to max out his gear and stuff. But I am planning on tier 2ing him relatively soon and checking out these bonuses right here with like the mind damage and all attack to see if that makes a difference. But that 15% mind damage isn't even half of what I added on the obelisk for the 35% right there, and the 35% didn't seem to make really any difference. It saves like 10-15 seconds on a level. I mean, it's not really going to be that noticeable, but if you pair it together with the 15% all attack and then the obelisk and stuff, maybe if the clones are probably still going to be useless, because this looks like the same clone boost that you get for Red Skull and Ultron, and their clones are still pretty lacking compared to other characters. So I don't plan on the clones being too useful at tier 2, but hopefully the attack boost and the mind damage boost and everything compiled will make them a little better. And if it does change anything, then I will make another video as soon as I can and post it up and be like, bam, Mysterio, my favorite character, and Marvel, of course. He's the best. But that video will be for another day, and I am going to call it here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.